The older people that work on the farms, the people over 60, 65, are fearful of the complications and what happens, what could happen when you get the coronavirus.
Lives have changed for many, many elderly people where you become cut off because of lockdown.
Seswingcono kuva va protector vana kuva va taza va ya xibedhlele ende mavabyi lava va ri mahlupha ngopfu ku va kuti u va u treata.
It is the 27th of March 2020. It is official. South Africa is under lockdown.
My name is S02 and I'm a practitioner here at Hlokomela, and I'm 78 years old. We are situated about 18 kilometers from Hoedspruit, a little town that's on the border of the Greater Kruger National Park. It was initiated about 15 years ago to empower the people and to get them tested and treated for HIV and of tuberculosis, but now we cater for any kind of ailment actually. We look after about 30,000 people in a year.
COVID-19 infection rates in South Africa, we appear to be in the middle of the peak in Gauteng.
COVID-19 is a virus that originated in China and that was spread by visitors all over the globe. Classical symptoms was that people started maybe having a sore throat, they sneezed a lot, they could have muscle pains, and they could even cough a little bit.
As lockdown level 3 continues and says that preventing HIV is still important.
We had to go on treating the people that had HIV. You couldn't now sort of forget about them and just think about COVID. No, I think there was a mind shift from we've got the HIV people, we must now just watch out for the COVID as well. Because as you know, there's no specific treatment for COVID, so when we get people that were tested positive for COVID, they would be sent to the necessary people that deal with that. The older people that work on the farms, the people over 60, 65, are fearful of the complications and what happens, what could happen when you get the coronavirus. They just hear about they are going to be the first ones to go, but in general that people will lose their work if they can't go to work and they must isolate. So those are the things that they are really worried about. So it was very difficult to get the people to come to work and to have all the rules and regulations like social distancing, masks, hand washing and sanitation, to get that on the roll so that people could be kept safe and healthy. We were able to sanitize the buses that they come in. They were sanitized when they got onto the buses. They were issued with masks. They were issued with sanitizing sprays, if you call it that. And where they work, they stopped every half an hour or so to clean their hands and to clean the tables that they are working from. And they are supplied with meals. And then when they go home, the buses are sanitized again. And they go through the whole process of sanitizing themselves. When they come here for their medicine or for whatever ailment, they're also screened at the entrance. Their temperatures are taken, they are screened for the necessary symptoms, and if there's no problem, then they come into the clinic. The seating arrangement is so that they're at least 1.5 to 2 meters apart, and then they are seen by the medical personnel. If you keep to the rules and regulations that were put out, we do not need to be afraid, and that we must not be impatient for this thing to go away. It's going to take a long time, but I am positive that in the end we will be able to get rid of it to a certain extent. People say that we're always going to have it around, but there are so many diseases that are always around that I don't think this one is going to be very special, except now for the first year or two maybe. I feel very positive about the fact that I can, at this stage of my life, still do something, and that we can try and contain the illness while we go on with our main objective, and that is to look after the general health of the farm workers of the area.
I'm Christine de Pre, the director of Hlokomela, and I'm 60 years old. So in 2005, I started the NGO. Hlokomela is an NGO. It really started because of farm workers. In 2007, I realized people are still dying of AIDS. I must make a plan. So I went to Right to Care, and they started to courier me some ARVs to Hoedspruit every month. I started with 50 patients, and from there, really things just happened. Then we realized, but there's really a need for farm workers to have awareness. So then we started with our nompilos. We have about 84 nompilos, that is caregivers that's on the farms. So they will, every month they're coming for training, and then we will send them out to the farms to educate the farm workers. Hoedspruit is really dependent on tourism. When the lockdown came, it was like immediately. There was nothing. It's like a ghost town. All the lodges in Hoedspruit had to stop working. And then people started to call me and say, listen, we just don't have food. And then we realized this COVID is the first thing that they're going to do now that we're locked down, is going to let people die of hunger. So that is why we at Hlokomela just decided, we must just make a plan.
My name is Gavin Tabraka. I'm employed by Hlokomela as the herb garden manager. This is our herb garden. Welcome. As a non-profit, we decided we needed to support our community. There's so many people hungry, not able to afford food. So we started a community wellness mission. And this is a long-term vision of aligning the herb garden to further support our community through, firstly, nutritious, healthy, organic food that is locally grown and seasonally produced. And then to slowly develop this wellness campaign, and then further the other aspects of wellness, so to show people the importance of eating healthy, having an exercise in your life, having mindfulness, being positive. So it's going to long-term include all of those things, but right now the dire need is food. Through an organization named Tembo Africa Foundation, we've been so lucky to have almost R1 million raised for food parcels. So our herb garden is buying food from local farmers around the area. We're supporting over 7 farmers at the moment. And then every week we're sending out minimum of 150 food parcels to the greater area around us, to the vulnerable members of our community who are unable to actually put food on their plates for the families.
They say we must have masks or buffs. So we had 2 ladies at our sewing project, and we said, listen here, now we must start making buffs. On this stage, we already did 15,000 buffs for farm workers.
Zita rangu ndiletwa Irene Dzene, ndine 52 years. Ndiri muno muHlokomela, ndinoshanda basa rekusona. Ndo basa randinoshanda rekusona mabhabs, kana dzimwe mbatyawo, zvese zvakakodzera kuti tisone, tinogona kuzvisona. Anything, overall, mosquito net, bags, zvakawanda tinosona. Tingangoti tinosona zvose. Zvinongoda munhu kana auya nepattern yake.
Farmers were wonderful, you know, they were ordering and for their staff. So suddenly there was something new for our ladies to do at the sewing project, because all other stuff had to stop.
Tizati maleswi ya ta tiri kurunga, se nta kurunga mabhafu. Se mabhafu lawa marungiwa mana tipeteni ta ku tala ngopfu. Se ku tala ka to kuna timas, kuna mashield lawa, kuna leswi mask. Se hina laniwa tirunga timabhafu ta kufana na leti. Se timabhafu leti ti pfuna ngopfu hi mhaka ya ku pfala swaku loko ni pfala ku fana na leswi so ti va ti pfala hinkwako. Loko ni va ni khohlola a swi nga za swi hangalaka na ku swi va fast swi kota ku va swi fela kwalayo.
Takasarudza kusonera vanoshanda mapurazi nekuti nzvimbo ineyi yakawanda mapurazi, saka tinofarira kuti ivo vanenge vachifara kutengera vanosenza, nekuti kwakawanda vanopika maoranges, kwakawanda mafruits kunoku. Saka takaona kuti isusu tinogona kusumukira zvekare Hlokomela Sewing Project, nekuti vanenge vachitotipromota, tinenge vachiuya vachizotenga zvinhu zvakawandisa. Vamwe vanogona kutenga 500, vamwe 600, according nemapickers avo anenge ari mumafarms avo. Saka takaona kuti vari kuzvifarira zvakanyanya ende hazvinese kusona, zviri easy. Zvakasiyana nemamaski, zvinogona kukutorera nguva, but mabhafusi hazvitori nguva yakanyanya kukura.
For me to be in the front line of this COVID, I'm happy because I have a good team behind me. And I'm happy that on this stage, I think we're doing the things right. You know, there's a possibility, and that is something that worries me, that one of us can be positive COVID one of these days. But we just need to handle it and make the best of it.
Yeah, I think that we have to be vigilant in keeping to the regulations, what the government has been proclaiming. If you stick to the rules, we do not need to be afraid.